Hey everybody, welcome back to Kat's Kitchen. I'm so glad you guys are back here with me for another episode. And today what we are doing is preparing some meals for the week and for tonight for dinner. So what we're going to be working on is I'm going to be making a cabbage vegetable soup. I know that's really popular in the beginning of the year. We're in January of 2024, if you can believe it. So I know that's real popular for people to try to like trim down and get their beach bodies ready for this year coming up. And it's also just a really good hearty thing to have in the wintertime. So we're gonna make some of that for lunches and probably dinner tonight. And then I have here some chicken. I bought this chicken here from Sam's Club. It came in a 2-pack. So, and it's already pre-cooked, it looks like, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna char it up a little bit in my cast iron, and then I'm gonna put that in a little storage container for later on in the week when we do salads, or we could do a wrap with it, something basic like that. And then I'm also gonna make some hamburgers and hot dogs later on. I'm thinking about doing them on the grill because even though we're in the middle of winter time, I do like to grill all year round as long as it's not too windy outside. So depending on the weather, I'll either cook them out there or in here later on this evening. So yeah, so it's always nice to have a little bit of like sprinkle of summertime picnic. So that's what we're going for here. It's snowy outside, but it's warm and cozy in here, and we're just gonna get on with it. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this. And I will, the main recipe for today is gonna be for our soup that we're making. Our hamburgers, I already have a hamburger recipe on my website. If you just go in the description box, you'll see a link to my website, catskitchenblog.com. And I'll try to write up this recipe and put it on there as well for the soup that we're gonna make. So guys, thank you so much, and I will see you soon. So I'm just starting off with some, you could use olive oil or avocado oil for this in my little skillet, and that's going to be for searing off the chicken that we have. And then I have 1 quart of chicken stock, and that's going to be for our cabbage soup. And that was homemade stock that I had made from some carcasses that I had, and then I just froze them into gallon-sized freezer bags. Next, I'm going to start getting all the veggies ready for our soup. So I'm just honing my knife a little bit here throughout cutting the vegetables. It's going to make your life a lot easier when cooking and safer as well, because a sharper knife is so much safer than a dull one. Whenever you have to push down too hard on the food to cut it, you know that it's time to sharpen it or hone it. So I'm just going to top and tail these carrots here, and then we're going to peel them. You can choose to peel them or not. Usually whenever I buy store-bought carrots, I do like to peel them. Now if they're homegrown, then that's a little different. But you did see I did take the time to wash them as well. So I'm just going to compost all these peels and all these scraps that we accumulate here. Usually on a Sunday, whenever I do weekly meal prep, I end up with a lot of compost, but that's always a good thing. And you can see me there, I have music on in the background, and I'm just kind of swaying to the beat. And I just want to encourage you guys all to have fun with your cooking and just relax and enjoy the time in the kitchen. Make it a family event if you can. Bring some friends and family in to help you or just to dine with. It's a lot of fun. So I just want people to help. I want to help people to take the pressure off of cooking and not try to be too perfect or precise, and just really enjoy your time together as a whole. So the easiest way I found to cut these carrots is to cut them in half, and then you can decide, you can usually manage them a lot easier that way, and then from here you can decide if you want half moons, if you want rounds, or if you want to julienne them, dice them, whatever you prefer. So you can put just about any vegetables that you want into this soup. I will leave you guys a brief recipe down below as like a guideline. But the best thing about soup in general is it's so interchangeable. You can do whatever you have. You can use whatever you have on hand at the time, or if you're on a specific diet. I know some of these vegetables, some vegetables are considered high carb if you're on a low carb diet and whatnot. You can make this soup that we're making completely vegetarian by just using vegetable stock instead of the chicken stock that I used. Now later on, when we go to add a little bit more flavor, I do use a vegetable base. But we are starting off with the chicken stock, obviously. So kind of like if it's, cleaning out the fridge kind of week for you, that's the best time to make a nice soup. Using things that need to be used. You can put protein in this as well, but I just left it just the vegetables. And here I was showing you that I had that little bag of chicken I just put in the back of my skillet. We're going to have that separately, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video. So I just want to get a nice char on that. Just dicing up our celery here. And we're going to get this going. This soup doesn't really have a lot of components, and I kind of like it like that. But like I said, any kind of vegetable that you have that you want to throw in here, any kind of protein even to beef it up a little bit, would be just fine. And this serves really well with crackers. Sometimes I'll do peanut butter crackers or a sandwich on the side, a toasted cheese, anything like that. So there I am, just cheersing you all. And now we're back to our cabbage. So this is a small head of cabbage. I'm really not making that much soup here. I just want to make enough for us for the next few days. And I'm just going to take off the outer leaves and core out. Take the core out of the center. And then we will cut this in half. And then I'll show you here. I'm going to make a few long cuts. Yeah, I think I just do, a few cuts down long ways. And then I just turn it 180 degrees and shave this pretty fine the other way. If you cut cabbage fairly small, or if you really want to, you can grate it or put it in the food processor if it's something that you're kind of trying to either fill up a meal with or kind of hide in a dish, but you just want to add some veggies. Cabbage is a good way to do that. And I'm just showing you there that I rinse my knife in between making these cuts. It really helps for a nicer clean cut, and it also helps your knife cut correctly so that you're not, it's not slipping on the food that's actually on the blade. It may seem like a small detail, but it actually really does help your cutting. So I'm just adding all of our vegetables in right now, and then we're just going to let this slow cook here on the stovetop for a few hours. We need to get these flavors developing. Anytime I make soup or sauce, I always like to let it cook for several hours. The art of making broth is really one of the
one of the biggest things in the kitchen and learning what to do and how to do it. So actually letting it take its time and fully develop is going to be really, really great for your dish. So now I'm adding in some minced garlic, some soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, so now we're adding salt and pepper to taste. And honestly, all these ingredients that we're adding in, you'll just want to taste as you go and adjust for you and your family's liking. Especially with the soy sauce. I know I'm using a low sodium soy sauce, but I know maybe not everyone may like that. So here I forgot to add in our onions, and we're doing this now. I'm just giving our chicken a little bit of a stir in the background there. I really liked this chicken, and just to report to you, that chicken was really tasty, very tender, but I am glad that I pan seared it to give it a little bit more of a charred finish in my cast iron. Now these are my onions from my freezer. I'm sure if you've been watching my videos for a while, I diced up these onions from the farm when I got them in October, and I put them all in freezer bags and froze them. And they obviously froze in one big lump because of the moisture. So I'm adding probably about a good cup of onions here. You could probably do 1 to 1.5 cup of onions depending on how much you like them. I'm not sure why I know because of the moisture, my onions froze together like that, but I've watched other people do that and their onions come out just fine from the freezer. So if you guys have any good advice for when I do that next year, how to freeze those onions without them freezing in one big ball like that, I would appreciate it. Okay, so here I am preparing some more veggies. These are going to be, this is going to be a side veggie, our zucchini here. I already washed this, and what we're going to do is just cut it into half moons, and then we're going to pan sear it in my cast iron that we cook the chicken in. It'll pick up a little bit of flavor from that chicken, and I like to just season this with a little bit of, put a little bit of avocado oil in the pan with some salt and pepper, and this makes for a really great side. You're going to see me cook a lot of vegetables in this video. I really love vegetables. It's one of my favorite things to eat and to make. I'm always looking for new ways to make vegetables, so you're going to see a ton of that here in this video. So you just want to make sure that your cast iron is heated up nicely with your oil already in there. And I'm actually just doing a half batch at a time because I just wanted to use the same skillet we cook the chicken in for the flavor. So I'm just going to add a little salt and pepper to taste. And you kind of have to let the pan do the work here. You don't really want to agitate them too much if you're looking to get good color on your zucchini. So I just mix it up in the beginning with the salt and pepper, and then I let it go for a while. It probably, this, half a zucchini at a time probably will cook for maybe a good 10 minutes or so. In the meantime, I'm going to get things ready for the salads for this week. So I have 1 English cucumber and 2 bell peppers. For the cucumber, I top and tail it. I cut it down the middle, and then I take my grater and I will grate 4 slivers out of the cucumber. and then I'll just cut this in half moons and store it in a storage container for the refrigerator. I noticed that if I have my vegetables, my raw vegetables that are for eating, fresh eating, if they're already washed and prepared and ready to go in my refrigerator, I'm more inclined to gravitate towards them if I need a snack or if I need a fast meal, such as a fast salad, something like that. It makes it a lot easier for me, and I don't have to think about it if I'm busy. So I would encourage you guys to do that too. But I do try to only chop up like what I need for that week, because if I don't go through it in about 5 or 6 days, then it can easily go bad too because it's produce. And then here I'm just storing it in one of my glass locking lid containers. So I'm just stirring the zucchini occasionally, maybe every couple of minutes or so, just so that they don't stick too bad to the pan. And I'm just getting our bell pepper prepared now. If you stand it up like that and cut around the core, then the veins and the core of the pepper, come apart so much easier. And then you can cut them then to your desired shape or size of what you need. I like to have these about the size that I would use for a salad, or if we just want to grab them and dip them in ranch or dressing or something like that. Sometimes when we have a little bit of a smorgasbord for dinner, I'll put this out with some dressing and that will be our veggie. Because I know in the wintertime, in order to get really good quality lettuce or greens is a little bit hard to come by. But bell peppers actually are really, really high in vitamin C, specifically the red ones. So, and they're kind of, outside of them being sweet, they're kind of neutral in a way where you can put them in a lot of dishes. So with these chopped up like this for breakfast on the weekends, I'll use these a lot in our eggs with some spinach and onions. And that way we're getting vegetables for all 3 meals. Just periodically, giving everything a stir, making sure it's looking good and everything like that. And in the meantime, while our soup and our, zucchini is cooking, we have prepared all of our salad preparation here, which is awesome. And our chicken is already cooked at this point. Okay, so here I'm showing you I'm using some vegetable base. Now this is a powdered bouillon that is loose in that little container there. I'm just breaking it up a little bit. I'm adding about 2 tablespoons at a time, and then I'm letting the soup cook and, tasting it periodically to see if it needs any more. I'm adding in a little bit more of everything, honestly. I was kind of light-handed in the beginning because of the volume of the soup. I didn't want to add too much. That's kind of how I cook. I start off with the ingredients that I know I want and the spices that I know I want, and then I let it cook for a while, taste it, add a little bit more as I go. Luckily, this is soup, so if it gets a little too salty or if you need to alter it, you can add more water to it, and it really won't affect anything. It'll actually be it'll be a pretty easy fix with soup. Okay, so here I am excited. I have a butternut squash here. It's been a while since I made a butternut squash, but I'm going to roast this butternut squash here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to break it down. Just cutting it in half makes it a little easier to work with. And I realize here as I'm trying to struggle to push through this squash that I need to sharpen my knife again. But what we're going to do is we topped and tailed it, we cut it in half, and then I'm going to take my peeler. I think I called this a grater earlier, so take my peeler and peel off the skin. And we're going to do this with all of the pieces. And after we peel off the skin, we're going to break this down and clean out the seeds that are on the inside. So I actually wasn't anticipating on cooking this butternut squash on this day, but I was like, you know what? I think it would be a nice side for the week. And so I was very happy that I did it. Mark really, really enjoyed the butternut squash. He said that it tasted like sweet potato. And it really did. It tasted like a roasted sweet potato. So you see me here just scraping out the seeds and a little bit of the membrane on the inside into my compost. And you're only going to have that on the one side of the squash. And then we're just going to cube this up nicely. And then we'll get it on our roasting pan. So let me know what recipes you guys like to use for butternut squash. It's probably between that and zucchini. Those are probably my two favorite squashes that we have. I'm going to try to grow some butternut squash in the garden this year. And you can see I was struggling there with my knife, so I am honing it again. You want to make sure you hone it over something like a garbage can or the sink there, because in case you have any shavings, you want to be mindful of where those shavings are falling. And then I rinse it off and wipe it again. And then here we're at the other half of our butternut squash here. I know a lot of people like to make butternut squash soup and like they'll puree it and whatnot. I'm pretty sure you can do curries with butternut squash. I think I've done that before. So I know there's a lot of different ways to go about it. Our soup is cooking away. At this point, our zucchini is done. And I figured out by cutting it this way, you see how I made an extra cut lengthwise on it. It helped me dice up this squash a lot easier. It was a lot more effective that way. I personally did not go to culinary school or anything like that. My brother actually did. But him and I have worked in a lot of restaurants throughout the years. So I do have a lot of restaurant experience, you know, front of house, back of house, and whatnot. Just in case you were all curious. But now I just cook for my family and friends. And you guys, of course. So here I am adding olive oil, salt, and pepper, and we're just giving this a good mix. This was perfect for this. It didn't need anything else, and that's kind of how I'm trying to cook this year, be more intentional about really high quality ingredients, but sticking with just a few ingredients so that each of those flavors can stand out. Okay, friends, so here we are out at the grill. I am bundled up. The wind really isn't going too much right now, so I'm like, okay, it's a good time to get out here. I'm giving you all the thumbs up. It's all good. What I like to do is scrape down my grill before I use it. I let it preheat a little bit. We have a little propane grill here. I also have a charcoal one that I take camping with us or down to the river when we have picnics. I'm showing you my burgers here. Those are my burgers that I have pre-made and I froze. So those were part of my freezer meal video that I made a while ago. So we're just gonna put a few of these burgers and hot dogs on the grill and let them get nice and cooked up. And then I eventually, after I flip these burgers, one time, I end up putting some white cheddar on the one side and let them melt. There is a trick to grilling. So my dad actually taught me how to grill. And really what you need to do is learn the hot and cold spots of your grill, because every grill is different. And you just kind of have to get used to it and watch it. And even if you have to keep your flame on, a mid-low or something like that, just to kind of control it until you learn your hot and cold spots of your grill. And what I mean by that is certain parts of your grill are going to be hotter than others. So depending on what you're cooking, you could have something cook a lot faster on one side than the other. So here I'm just getting everything situated, and then I eventually bring out the spatula and we're going to smash down the burgers a little bit. But I just let them kind of heat up in here first. So here I'm just giving you a look of the snow. This was the first in the grill here. This is the first real good snow that we had. I know you can't really see it too much. There's the garden down there with the little lights. And we are still plugging away. I still go inside, obviously, to keep warm in between doing this. I really wasn't outside for that long. I was only out here for maybe 15 minutes total. So what we're working with here is I'm starting to move some of these hot dogs that are done up on my little upper rack here. And what I'm doing that for is for a few reasons, because I want them to cook a little bit more on the inside, and I don't want them to get too burnt. So moving them on that upper little rack is going to help avoid any burning, and so they can still cook on the inside. And then I'm smashing down my burgers a little bit there just to make sure that they cook nicely. I want to get a nice char on them all. Let me know if you guys grill in the wintertime all year round. Obviously, I would not recommend it if the weather is really, really bad. Use your own discretion on that, but it really is fun. That's what you can see how much fun I'm having. I love it out there. I love to grill, and the food tastes so much better whenever it's grilled. So I'm showing you here, this is the white cheddar that I sliced for the burgers. Now that they're flipped once and smashed down, I'm gonna add some to each burger, and then I'll just close the lid and let them, melt the rest of the way. And like I said, whatever is not fully cooked, I'll just move it to that upper rack, and then I'll turn the flames down and let it continue to cook the rest of the way. So next here we have everything that we made today, our hamburgers and hot dogs, our chicken, all of our veggies. And then next we're gonna see our butternut squash. You can see how much this cooked down quite significantly. And then we have our veggie soup. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye-bye, friends.